What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Mateo's Corner. Today we're going to be talking more about Jump Force. Probably the last video I'm going to do of Jump Force related stuff until DLC 2 starts coming out and more characters are coming out then. But I probably will wait till the end of Season 2 to actually jump in and talk about the supers for them and about the DLC in general. But this is everybody up to the end of DLC 1. So, yeah, we're going to have lots of talk about this. Today, we are going to discuss the roster. Last time I talked about the supers in the game. A very long video. It's a very long video with all the supers I had to do. But it was fun. It was worth it. And I think talking about the roster and Jump Force will really give you guys an idea on what I feel about the game as a whole. I could do a little tiny review about the game while playing it, but anyway, we're going to talk about the roster today. So, we're going to start here with the create a character. I think creating a character is a good idea for a game like this. I know a lot of people were against the idea when the game came out. They're like, why do you need to make your own character? There's no reason to do that. And sure, in story mode, you could have taken out the created character and had it be where you either play as just the main Jump Force representatives, and Goku, Luffy, and Naruto would have been the main characters, and you would have had a bigger, like a more interesting plot because of them, learning to work together as a team and all that stuff. But on top of that, I still like the idea of making your own character. You get to make a character that you decide how they play, you decide how they look, you decide how they function and who's on their team and whatnot. I also like how the story revolves around you, and it's like you're thrust into the conflict as well when the real world, spoilers for those of you who haven't played plot. So yeah, I'm actually okay with create a character. I give it a thumbs up. I think it's good. It made me want to play the game a whole lot more than I would have before, so that's something. Okay, talking about the Dragon Ball reps. Alright, so I'm going to count DLC after I count the main characters. And there's a reason for this. So bear with me if I don't get to the DLC characters right now. God, Goku's got large hands. Look how large his hands are. Holy cow. Like, I guess Vegeta also has big hands, right? Oh, just, alright, whatever. So Goku. Goku, of course he has to be in the game. He's the main Dragon Ball rep. I'd be surprised if he didn't have Goku in the game, at least, from Dragon Ball. Goku gets a thumbs up. Same with Vegeta. If you're going to do a Dragon Ball related game, you have to have Vegeta in there somewhere, or if not Vegeta, someone that is as popular as him. He's one of the biggest characters in Dragon Ball, especially after Dragon Ball Super with the Tournament of Power, everything, it makes sense. Future Trunks also gets a thumbs up. I really like Future Trunks. He was the first character I knew of from Dragon Ball other than Goku. Funny story about how I found out about Trunks. There was a birthday party that I went to, and the guy whose birthday party it was. This was when I was really young, back in like the 90s, late 90s, and he was a big Dragon Ball fan, and he had like Dragon Ball Final Bout, and we played that on the PS1. Thought it was the coolest game ever, which it wasn't. I'll tell you guys that right now. But his birthday cake was Super Saiyan Trunks, and that's how I recognized Trunks, and I've loved him. Even started watching Dragon Ball and everything. I really like Trunks. He's a cool character. I like how he has when he doesn't have his jean jacket on and he has just the tank top and the Super Saiyan hair, like in the opening of Dragon Ball Z during that saga, the Cell Saga and stuff. It's a really cool thing. He's a character a lot of people like. Very different than Goku and Vegeta because he uses the sword. It's a different kind of character, and I like that. If you're gonna put a character in from a series with a lot of different characters, make your roster varied, and Future Trunks is a good way to do that. This is obvious. Thumbs up. Frieza is one of the biggest villains in Dragon Ball. He deserves the right to be here, especially after the last couple seasons and everything. Thumbs up for sure. He's my favorite Dragon Ball Z villain of the main sagas. Love it. Ah, Piccolo. Alright, so I know a lot of people will sit here and be like, well, why is Piccolo here and not like Gohan, or where's, you know, another villain character, or maybe a character from Super or whatever. But let me tell you something. Piccolo is, when you think about Piccolo, he's like future Trunks and Vegeta and Goku and Frieza. Like, he's one of the big characters. He is actually one of my top 5 favorite characters in Dragon Ball, even above future Trunks. And Piccolo, he's a popular character. He's a character that deserves the spot. He really does. He's a very good character. Again, if you're gonna have something Dragon Ball related, you gotta have Goku and Frieza. But if you can have more than 2 or 3 reps, you gotta put in Piccolo. Also, you know, his gameplay is very varied. Makes sense. Cell also makes sense. Cell being in the game makes total sense. He's one of the big bad villains of Dragon Ball. I'm not surprised that he's here. I'm very happy. I'm actually okay overall with the Dragon Ball roster. I think it's a good 6 characters. It makes sense. Dragon Ball is one of those series where you think of characters off the top of your head, and you're like, okay, if you can't pick movie villains and you can't pick people from Super, and you can just do Dragon Ball Z, who would you pick? People immediately go, oh, Goku, Frieza, Trunks, Piccolo, Cell, Vegeta. That's probably how they thought of these characters anyway. So, yeah, entire 6 characters, fine. I'm okay with them. Same thing with Goku. You gotta have Luffy. Makes total sense to be in there. Zoro, I'm actually surprised that they put Zoro in the game. Mostly because in the last Jump J-Stars fighting game, the representatives were Luffy, Ace, and Akuji. It's the Marine captain with the lava powers. I can't remember his name right now. So having Zoro is good. You know, Zoro's a popular character. Again, very varied for the roster of the One Piece characters. He uses multiple swords. Awesome character. Oh, Sanji. Sanji. I'm actually surprised that Sanji's in this game. I like Sanji. But when you think about characters from One Piece, Sanji doesn't come up to my mind first. Especially because you have a kicking character because of Boa Hancock, who, I take it back, she was also in the last J-Stars game. So it's funny because this roster is going to have people that were in the last J-Stars game with another rep with them, which I think is really funny. But yeah, going back to Sanji, we already have a kicking character because of Boa Hancock. And I would have much rather, I mean, I like Sanji, but I would have rather have seen like Nami, or maybe even like Buggy the Clown, or again Akainu, or Akoji, or not Akainu. I think his name's Akainu. Akainu, the Marine with the lava powers, or even like Jimbei, the fish man that does the fish karate and stuff, or Crocodile, or even like Garp. Monkey D. Garp, you know, Luffy's grandpa that's in the Marines. You know, it would have been really cool to see a character that isn't really used that often in the roster. Or, you know, maybe have another villain, you know. But, I mean, Sanji's fine, but I honestly think that they could have replaced him with somebody else. Blackbeard, Marshall D. Teach, he's fine. He's a good villain character. There's a reason why he's in this game. He's one of the biggest villains in One Piece. Totally okay with his inclusion. Same thing can be said about Boa Hancock. I'm okay with Boa Hancock. I think she's a fine character. She, of the One Piece characters, she's very unique. She's the only female in the group. and she also does kicking, and she has that kind of stuff. So I am actually okay with Boa Hancock. I think she's fine. Sabo. I like Sabo. I think Sabo makes sense that he's in this game, especially because you can't put Ace into the game because Ace is dead, canonically. Like, the last game you could probably... Okay. The last game you could get away with Ace being alive because it didn't really tell you what time period the game took in. Plus, the whole premise of the game was, oh, this deity decided to cause a tournament between all the Jump Force characters, and you don't really know what time period he decided to grab people from. So Ace made sense. But if you're going from where people are at right now, Sabo makes sense instead of Ace. I am totally okay with that. Overall, I think the One Piece roster's fine. Again, I think if Sanji was replaced by, you know, like Nami or a marine character, even Smoker. Actually, I would have really liked if Smoker was in the game, but he probably would have been too hard to make. Akainu would have been cool. Garp would have been cool. Don Quixote. Shoot, what's his last name? The villain with the blonde hair and the sunglasses and the pink boa. Don Quixote. Is his name Don Quixote? It's I know the character I'm thinking of, but anyway, the villain, that guy would have been really cool as a villain as well. I think he also would have been really a good rep, but that's all right. I think it's an average roster. It's fine. On to the Naruto characters. Naruto has to be in. I'm gonna just skip him. Hey, anybody that's obvious, I'm just gonna skip. Naruto was obvious. I mean, he's the main character. Sasuke makes sense, although I'm surprised that they gave them their Shippuden outfits. I'm surprised they didn't give them the outfits from the Boruto series, especially because Boruto's in this game. It's kind of odd. Kaguya's a cool villain. I think I would have liked to have seen, like, one of the other villains. But I guess Kaguya makes sense because she was one of the more recent villains. So it's fine. Gaara, I'm actually surprised that Gaara's in this game. Not because I think he's not a cool character. I'm always just surprised because I would have expected, like, Rock Lee or Might Guy or, you know, someone that would have been, like, you would have immediately thought of Naruto. But I guess Gaara is one of the bigger characters of the series, and you know, I haven't seen Naruto for a long time. I kind of stopped watching Naruto after, right before the middle of the Shippuden arc. So I guess Gaara is a really popular character, so I guess it does make sense that Gaara's in this game. Plus, he has a very unique moveset, so yeah, I'm okay with that. Gaara's awesome. I actually do like Gaara. Kakashi. I am glad Kakashi's in this game. Kakashi's my bro. He's been my favorite character other than Zabuza and a couple others since the brief time I started watching Naruto. Kakashi's always awesome. I love seeing him in games where there's crossovers like this. Totally makes sense why he's in this game too. He's a big character. Boruto makes sense. He's the newest main character of the Naruto series. Yeah, I got nothing more to say. It makes sense why he's here. Out of everybody, I was kind of surprised at Gaara, but knowing that Gaara is a very popular character, it makes sense. Kaguya, I'm surprised they didn't put Madara as the main villain for the Naruto rep, but I guess it makes sense that they have Kaguya. I think if they wanted to add Madara, they probably would have replaced him with Boruto. But I like that they put Boruto in the beginning of the day one characters. I think it's good. Overall, this roster for the Naruto characters is good. I'm actually okay with it. Nothing wrong. I absolutely have nothing wrong with it. I'm perfectly happy with it. Would have liked to have seen like Sakura or again like Might Guy or Rock Lee or one of those other characters, but I'm okay with it either way. Saint Seiya characters. You know, I'm okay with Saint Seiya, but I'm not okay with Dragon Shiryu. I get that he's an important character, but no villains, really. No villain whatsoever from Saint Seiya. I think that's the part that intrigues me the most, is that they don't have any of the more... Not even a villain character. It's the same two reps that were, I think, in the last game. They didn't even bother, like, adding another one, which is very odd. I mean, I like Seiya. I think he's fine. But honestly, I would have just taken Dragon Shiryu out. But, I mean, I don't know. I think for a game like this where there's so many characters, it's weird that they didn't give Saint Seiya a third rep. But I guess this is fine. It would have been nice to see a villain. Or at least another character that's, you know, important to the series. But I guess this is fine. Actually, if they're going to put in another Saint Seiya character, make it a Saint Seiya character from one of the other seasons. Like, even one of the newer seasons would have been really cool to see a rep from. Ryo Saiba, I've never seen the show he's from, but he's a series I don't recognize, and I appreciate that. I always like seeing a game like Jump Force where they try to bring characters in that aren't mainstream, and maybe he is mainstream, but I just don't know it. But like, as a guy that doesn't really watch TV all the time because I don't have cable, or I don't have an axe, I don't have the chutzpah to go look for certain shows on my own. I think it's cool to see characters like Ryo in the game and just to be represented, you know. So yeah, really enjoy it. Kenshiro, same thing as some of the other characters. Fist of the North Star is a very, very popular. It's still popular today for a reason. It's a very crazy post-apocalyptic series. Kenshiro's great. I like Kenshiro. It's weird that, again, they didn't add another rep from this. Kind of like Saint Seiya, they didn't add another rep from this series, and I'm intrigued as to why. But at the same time, it's cool that Kenshiro's at least here, and that they still represent him. Okay, Bleach. Alright, so this is where we have multiple characters from the series, so I gotta talk about the reps here. Ichigo makes sense. He's a main character. Renji. It's good to see Renji. I am a big Renji fan. I am very happy to see Renji here. Glad it wasn't like some other character that I don't care about. Renji's awesome. I'm okay with it. Of course, Aizen is here. Not really much to say. No surprise. Rukia is also not really a surprise. She is one of the big characters in Bleach. Excuse me. Honestly, I think all these characters are fine. Every single character, 1, 2, 3, 4. All 4 Bleach reps are perfectly fine. I mean, it would have been nice to see somebody like... This is like the average. This is kind of like the Dragon Ball roster, where you're like... The Dragon Ball roster was really rounded out with enough characters. They gave you 6 characters, and they were all characters that people think of. But with Bleach, it would have been nice to have one more rep, at least like 5 characters from Bleach, and have like, you know, Kenpachi or something. Actually, I kind of remember something about Kenpachi supposedly supposed to be in the game, along with Krillin. And then they just never added him in, and I have no idea why. Krillin would have been really cool day one, but Kenpachi would have made sense. Kenpachi would have been awesome, actually. Yeah, other than that, it's what you would expect from Bleach. Makes sense. Hunter x Hunter, Gon and Killua have to be in the game. They're important. They're the 2 big characters. Same with Hisoka. Hisoka's one of the big villains. Makes sense why he's in the game. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, no questions. Kurapika, though. I was intrigued at Kurapika being in the game, only because I would have thought they would have picked somebody else. I don't know why, I just didn't think Kurapika was going to be in this game. But I'm happy with it. I'm actually very happy with Kurapika being in this game, and I appreciate the fact that that the character's here. Again, like Bleach, it's you expect these 3 of these characters to be here, and then Kurapika's a nice surprise. Totally okay with the roster. I'm sure that there's probably another character that they could have added. I've never seen Hunter x Hunter. I've only seen little bits of it, and I am planning to watch it when I have time, but I only know Hisoka, Killua, and Gon. I don't know anybody else, so seeing Kurapika was a surprise for me, because I was like, oh, a new character I've never seen before, but I'm pretty sure that there might have been another character that would have been way important to put in the game. Jotaro, Mr. Joestar himself, or Jotaro, I guess. He has to be in the game. He's one of the most popular JoJo's Bizarre Adventure seasons of all time. I'm actually surprised that he wasn't in the original J-Stars game on PS4 that I played. They had the original Jonathan Joestar with the Hamon breathing, and then they also had the second season Joestar with the guns and the running away and the... I know exactly what you're going to say next. But no Dio, no Jotaro. Oh, that's another thing. Dio. I'm glad Dio's in this game. This game needs a lot more villains than what they gave us, and Dio is a great villain. He's a great character. Glad he's in the game. He and Jotaro make sense. Especially after the last game, they gave us no Dio, and they didn't give us Jotaro, and they only did those original Joestars. It makes sense to put in this series. I'm intrigued that they didn't put in one of the newer series as well, but this is perfectly acceptable. Totally okay with that. Alright, now we're into the territory of I wish they added more. Yosuke and Toguro, I like these characters, but they were in the last game, and I feel like they could have added another character in. At least one more character. Same with Saint Seiya. It's like some of these series, I feel like they should have added certain characters, and they just didn't, and it feels kind of odd. I wish they added another one, but again, the characters are fine. Kenshin has to be in the game. Kenshin is such a good series, and it makes sense why he's in the game. Same with Shishio. Again, it kind of would have been nice to see one more character, but I guess when you think about Kenshin, I only really think about these two, so it makes sense. Good reps. Okay, okay, so Yugi Moto actually surprised me when I first heard that this game was coming out. Having Yugi in the game, I think, is amazing, especially because there's a big fan base for Yu-Gi-Oh! And seeing Yami in this game was a real treat. And I actually like playing as him. He's very fun. Glad he's in the game. I'm very happy with more than... I'm happy with Shonen Jump giving us reps from series that, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Where, yeah, it's a big series. And I'm glad it was Yugi. I'm glad it wasn't like the new character from Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm glad it was Yugi Moto. Because that, I think, is more impactful than any of the other not Dragon Ball. Any of the other Yu-Gi-Oh! Main characters have been. Midoriya. Perfectly acceptable. This series is really big right now. It makes sense why they would put him in the game. Although I'm very surprised that there's not another My Hero Academia character in the base game. I would have thought they would have given us at least Bakugo or All Might. Or maybe even like one of the villains like gosh, I don't know. I don't know My Hero Academia. That's another one I haven't watched, but I'm sure they could have given us another villain, but I like Midoriya. Asta, again, I'm okay with this. Give us more reps from series that are new and series that are not really that represented. Asta's awesome. I think he's great. It's good to have him in here. Same with Dai. Dai is actually fairly new. It's a Dragon Quest manga that they're making. I think it's Dragon Quest. And Dai's cool. This was the first time I ever heard of him. And I really appreciate the character. I like that he's in it. I'm actually going to probably watch the anime or read the manga that he's from pretty soon. And that's actually it for the base game. Those were the characters that were out when the game first popped up. Overall, I feel like the roster is fine. I just wish that some series had more people represented. And I also wish that they put in people like Gintama or Bobobo and certain other characters that, or even like Toriko from the Toriko series. Like, there's some characters that you would think would be in this game, and they're not here. And you can tell, and it feels weird. Like, again, Gintama not being in the game is intriguing, especially because the series was ending when this game came out. Again, like, what about Toriko? Toriko was pretty popular. I mean, if, like, Yugi Moto can be in the game, and, you know, where's that other character? Like, Saint Seiya's in the game, and Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star, and Ryo Saiba, like, what? Why can't Gintama and those other characters be in it? It's very strange. Anyway, that's what I thought about the main roster. I think it's perfectly acceptable. It's sellable. Perfectly acceptable roster. Now we're into the DLC characters, and the first is Seto Kaiba. Kaiba, I'm actually happy with. If you were going to have another character from Yu-Gi-Oh!, you may as well have Kaiba. You honestly don't need any more reps from Yu-Gi-Oh! I am perfectly happy just having Kaiba and Yugi. Biscuit. Finally, another character for Hunter x Hunter. And it's a character that I know is important. Biscuit is very important. I'm glad she's in the game. It's enough said. It's just, again, it adds to the roster for that fan base. It's good. All Might. A character that people are very happy is in this game. All Might is a good character. I'm glad it's not just Midoriya. He's a big character in the series that he's from. Makes total sense why he's here. This is one of the DLC characters that I was actually very surprised that they put in. I'm not surprised that they put a Boo rep in. That's not what surprised me. I'm surprised that they made it Fat Boo and not, like, Super Boo or Kid Boo. Because those are the ones that you would expect. And I know a lot of people were very upset and mad when Fat Boo, the good Majin Buu, was chosen instead of Super Boo or Kid Boo. Honestly, I have nothing against Fat Boo. Majin Buu, I think, is really cool. I'm glad that they have someone from the Boo arc represent. I'm glad that Boo's in the game because he now finalizes the last of the Dragon Ball Z arcs. And if they want to add characters, they could now add people like side characters or people from Super. I don't think they need to add another Dragon Ball character, though. I mean, they could maybe add one more, but now that's 7 characters, and I think they're good. I honestly don't think they need any more. Bakugo. Again, surprised he wasn't in the base game. Bakugo's cool. I don't use him, but I'm glad that... I mean, I would have liked some other character that... I don't know. I don't really read My Hero Academia, but I know why Bakugo's important, and I'm glad that he's in the game. It makes sense why he's in the game. It would have been interesting if they put, like, one of the villains, though, instead of Bakugo. Or instead of All Might, but it's fine. Bakugo's totally acceptable. Toshiro. You know, I feel kind of mixed about Toshiro. Because Toshiro and Kenpachi were supposed to be in the base game. And they gave us Toshiro, but not Kenpachi. Or Krillin. And I feel kind of weird about that. Especially because you can get Destructo Disc as a move for your created character. So Krillin was supposed to be, and Kenpachi would have been really cool to have in the game. I think Toshiro's fine. I just think he's just another Rukia, and that's the part that bugs me, is that if you're gonna make DLC characters, you gotta make sure that they add to the roster. So like, Kaiba plays a little bit like Yugi, but he has a lot of different moves, and he plays a little bit differently, so it's fine. He's not a perfect Carbon clone. Biscuit is a totally new character. Totally new character. Totally new character. Totally new. Toshiro just feels like a version of Rukia. Way more. I mean, he is his own character and he has his own moves. But like, if you didn't know anything about this character and you looked at the move set, it's just, oh, it's another person with ice powers with a sword, just like Rukia. But again, knowing Bleach as I do a little bit, Toshiro's awesome. I'm happy that he's in the game, but I would have liked to have had like Chad or again Kenpachi, or you know, some other character. However, this does lead us to wonder if Kenpachi's going to be in the next DLC. Huh. Anyway, Madara should have been in the base game, especially because of how popular he was, and he was in the last Shonen Jump fighting game too. So, yeah, I'm glad he's in the roster. Grimmjow, my favorite Bleach character, even though I haven't been catching up. With Bleach, I mean Grimmjow, glad he's in the game. I'm actually very happy that he's here. He gives us a nice neutral slash evil character to work with. Love it. Love that he's in the game. Again, it doesn't make sense why they gave us 2 reps from My Hero Academia and 2 reps from Bleach, but alright. It's whatever. Finally of the DLC, we have Law. I'm okay with Law. I'm actually surprised that they put Law in the game. Although I like that he is a unique character where he has his own kind of moveset. Perfectly happy with Law. I think he's cool. He works. He's a unique character that's not like anybody else. So of the DLC characters, I liked most of them. I liked Kaiba. I love that Kaiba's in the game. All Might makes sense. Majin Fat Boo was surprising, but I like him being in the game. The only one I had reserve about was Toshiro. But again, it's because he and Kenpachi were supposed to be in the base game. And then they scrapped... They didn't scrap, but they put aside the characters. And they gave us Toshiro, but not Kenpachi. And I found that to be kind of strange. Now we have the boss characters. Kane, Galena, and Prometheus. These 3 characters were added later in a patch, in an update patch, because you could not play as them. And honestly, they should have been in the game day 1. I like that the characters are here. I like that they have different movesets and that they all play differently from each other, especially Prometheus. Prometheus is a very interesting character to figure out how to play as. It's good having the boss characters here. Rounds out the roster a bit. Overall, we have 1, 2, 42 characters in the base game, and 54 characters. So it went from about 40-something to 54 characters. And, you know, 54 characters isn't that bad of a number. A lot of people sit there and complain that there's not enough characters. For a game like Jump Force, having 40 characters is a lot more, than what most games would have put in. This is a good number. Some of the reps could have been different. This is true. Like I said, I wish Gintama and Toriko and a couple other series were represented here. But there is DLC 2 on the horizon. I might make a video describing who I would want to see for DLC 2. On top of just a nice little short review of the game and what I think of it. But anyways, as the roster goes, I think it's just average. It's a very average roster that you would expect, with some nice surprises thrown in. And yeah, that's where I'm going to leave it. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry this was kind of a bit of a long video, but I hope it gave you some insight as to what I think the roster is like and everything. If you like the video, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Put in the comments what you guys think of with this roster. I really want to know what you guys think about this game. And about the roster and all the characters. Anyway, that's enough for today's video. I will see you guys next time. Y'all take care.